Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. I have Ranchin alongside once again, and we're going to have Iris, aka Berserker, going up against Hiva. And this should be a pretty interesting match on Matchpoint, and I think actually Hiva might come out with this because, yeah, Matchpoint does have a little bit, I know, I keep mixing up the maps in my head. Matchpoint has a pretty exposed natural secondary for Terrans, so all-in Zerglings can be pretty powerful. It's because it's a really wide open choke near the natural expansion, and so Terran, what they generally do is they actually build the command center to blockade it, and they'll produce some additional marines, so they have those additional marines to clear out Zerglings as they're moving out. But if you have speed upgraded Zerglings, in one regard you can actually run over your opponent sometimes if they're not careful, and that's one thing that Heave is known for, running over his opponent with Zerglings. And Iris, not known for his base defense, I would say, although he did pick it up. I kind of ran that story over and over again, and he kind of ignored me all of the last MSL. He just played really, really excellent defense, which is actually what made him into the top 4. So I think this is actually it's not a make or break game, I think, for either player as far as their career goes, but I think it is going to be a testament to see kind of playing to their strengths and playing to, I guess, to Iris's weaknesses, is how far he will advance if he does advance out of this. And for Hiva, I guess, if he does manage to make it out here and make it out of the final, how he kind of fares against higher level Terran versus Zerg players.
At the very least, Iris is going to want to win this just so he can move on and get some revenge against Saint in the final match and have a chance of actually moving on. You know, losing twice to the same player in this kind of setup, definitely not something you want to do. Okay, that's kind of weird. Drone there going, just checking behind the drone lines. Apparently expecting some cheese from Iris. Iris, the very aggressive type, but don't often see him as the cheesy type. If he's going to knock you dead early, he's going to do it by just planting 2 Raxes inside of his natural and just getting a gigantic Firebet Marine army inside of your base. Early expansion going to be coming in from Hiva. So he's not going to be too early aggression. Now, opposite side, Iris actually going for an early refinery. So switching it up, going mech. That's not, well, actually his Vulture play, of course, very, very strong. So I actually think this might be positive for him. He's going to try to get in there, try to get the Vulture up that ramp, try to get it, and just completely harass that natural expansion. If he gets the Vulture out there in time before the Sunken Colony's up, before they get fully scouted, might actually manage this, but we're just going to have to see.
Yeah, I think this is actually a very intelligent play because that's, first of all, you have a lot of surface area to work off of approaching the natural expansion, and additionally, assuming that Hiva tries to take a third base, it's going to get absolutely crushed, especially if he tries to take the nearby 3, because there's just a lot. It's right near a ramp, and Goliath's right there, siege tanks right there. I especially think of a Goliath heavy army. He's just not going to be able to defend it. And knowing that Zerg have difficulty, I think there's 2 ways to deal with mech when you're Zerg player. One, I think, is drop. Just exploit the maneuverability of the mech army and make sure that it has to stay at home base and get a drop off before it starts moving out, and make sure it basically has to stay at home base, otherwise the army gets run over, sort of thing. Or 2, you expand everywhere, and this is one of those maps that it can be difficult to expand everywhere and still deal with a mech army, especially because thinking about surface area versus surface area, just think about the engagements that can happen between a mech and a Zerg army, just kind of an open ground. There's not a lot of places where you can just get a big, huge flank on a mech army on this map, and especially if they can make it all the way out towards basically the Zerg portion of the map in this stage, in this case with Hiva's side of the map, essentially. You're going uphill, and even that you can flood in some vultures underneath right there, and we're seeing a starport, actually. So showing mech initially, now going to a command center and a starport. Going to play some sort of very early, maybe early drop even. I don't know. We'll see if we'll see a second starport here, but going some sort of very quick tech build and not opting initially for mech. Even though I think it would be interesting to see on this map the first vulture kind of wandering out in the field. So that's at least an indicator to Hiva that he's going up against. I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to show mech, and he's going to switch it up instead and go for fantasy build here and go for that vulture drop on that backline, which again I think could be very effective because it's still a lot of territory to hold, and I think it's very flexible at the same time. I think he can go either direction with that build. He can switch right back to medic marines, or he can continue with that mech army, and I think it'd be very, very powerful. Hiva playing very defensively though at this stage.
You're going to be forced to play defensive. Eventually going to have to be forced to pick up his third. Very interesting build. There is a Wraith building, so he's also going to have a Wraith off one single starport while he gets that natural expansion going. And just really interesting to see this building. Opposite side, we're actually going to see a Spire up, so there are going to be Mutalisks to counter this. We're going to see whether there's going to be some heavy Wraith to Muta Micro. Of course, that doesn't become as good as you want it to be unless you get some cloak going. Science facility up. in just no time. He's taking up heavy like hell. Gonna try to get some harassment going. Should be able to pick off an Overlord to start off with. That it's in that natural. That is going to get the spot on that Wraith. Should actually be able to maybe get some drones in time. Meanwhile, just getting his eBay up. Gonna have the turrets up. I think this just as soon as he switches up, get the tech up, he's just going to go ahead and switch to Mech Marines, because Iris is one of those players I feel that's just so old school that playing real straight up mech is not really something that he does very well. I see some players like Hwason especially, when he goes for mech, it just tends to be lackluster, tends not to be what he wants it to be, and even if he does manage to kind of pull it off, get a decent build going, get it going, just when it comes to just player's instinct, he just looks like he feels uncomfortable playing that and just doesn't really make the correct game decisions he wants to make. But Iris right now has a lot of vultures out in the field, so that's definitely something he's comfortable with. They call Fantasy the vulture terrorist, but Irish is the original guy, you know, the original person that went around and raided everything with vultures, be it Protoss, other Terrans, or Zerg. And he's actually going to be able to manage to get two Zerglings right inside of Iris's base, going to spot the defense position. They're going to get the full spot on the tech. Iris almost losing his Wraith there to a Scourge. I think he's going to be able to outfly it. You have to micro against it to push it back, or at least fly it into the defense of some Marines. But still a lot of vultures out in the field by Iris. He's going to be able to run outside, going to be able to deny a third for a while as soon as he wants to, I think. So, economically speaking, I think Irish is going to be able to take an advantage. Actually, Hiva going to take the mineral only to start things off.
Actually, that was kind of an interesting play right there, because those Zerglings going in were absolutely huge, and not a pure block with that Hydralisk stand. Very intelligent. That's the advantage of game knowledge right there. Iris able to sneak right by it and able to empty that natural secondary. I think that was almost a continuing to rack up kills here. Not microing them, but he's basically stopped everything at its natural event. Finding Hydralisks to wander forward and deal with this, but still that hurts. But that's the one thing, when you have that sort of opening build, the Zerg just doesn't know what you're doing. So when you can sneak in and see something like, oh, hey, look, he's teching straight to science vessels, I know what that means. He's planning on switching right back to a medic marine army, or he's going to do something mixed. You know basically that you can go take another expansion, because you're not going to see a large army of anything else aside from just a couple vultures out in the field. And as long as you have those Hydralisks up, you can comfortably take it. So it looks like I think that was extremely beneficial, and that shows you Hiva's strength once again, sneaking Zerglings in, really paying off for him. And it looks like Iris is going to play a little bit more defensively. He didn't know how Hiva was going to respond. I think he was expecting a large Mutalisk counter, which is why he had to put down so many turrets rapidly, but that's just empty. Basically, absolutely empty money right there. It's not doing anything for him. Hiva instead going to just try to build some expansions out in the field, and so I think that was kind of a pretty big game shift, and I think that's going to put it right back in Hiva's hands. He's going to be able to expand. He's going to be able to, looks like he's got some Hydralisks to escort that drone in the bottom right, and I don't know that Iris is going to be able to swing back with this. It looks like he's going to try to do a mixed siege tank medic marine army. Those turrets actually did pay off for him right there with the Scourge. He's just trying to go out and scout, but I think Kiva is just in a really good position economically. I think he's going to be able to catch back up in this, and I think he's going to be able to produce, specifically do this, get the Hive Tech, and have kind of the units out to deal with that mixed army before Iris is really able to field it.
Iris is going to have high tech up pretty quickly on the upside. We're actually seeing Hiva get his Queen's Nest alongside getting that base at the lower right-hand position. Iris just using that Wraith, kind of like a Corsair used by a Protoss to get the scout all over the place. The Lurkers, already saw some Lurker eggs being morphed, so there are going to be Lurkers in play alongside those Hydralisks, some Zergling. My Marine, is he going to be able to get? Yeah, gets off one more Overlord kill. I think this is like a third Overlord so far that Wraith has gone around and killed, so that's definitely helping him in delay Hiva getting any troops out in the field. There's just a couple of Lurkers to defend the lower right hand, and Iris not really going to have an army anytime soon to pick off. Going to add in crap load of Rax is going to be on 6 Raxes up. It already has 3 siege tanks, his natural expansion, and a dropship. Going to fill it up with Marines, try to get some harassment done, just as long as he doesn't get it picked off. Actually, interestingly enough, going to get a early defensive matrix on one of those tanks. I'm wondering whether that was a misclick or not, because there's absolutely nothing incoming anytime yet anyway. Just getting the defender matrix on the tank is going to be able to run in, possibly get the drop off. There are those 2 Lurkers defending the lower right hand position, so it's going to be critical whether he actually manages to get it. Is going to get a scanner. I'm not sure if that's in range of the Lurkers. I think it should have been in range of at least of one of the Lurkers, so the dropship is going to move in from the north side so he can get a decent attack going. If he manages to just take down this natural expansion, he's going to swing this entire game right back in, and just going to see how he manages to wreck 2 Lurkers running right into defense position. We're going to see the scan. No, Medic Marines are actually going to run off too small a number, only one single medic to support, and Zerglings and Lurkers coming from the north side to actually neutralize this, so I think he was actually being able to defend this very well. Also has 2 Lurkers waiting outside of Iris's natural expansion on his ramp just to clear up any forces coming in on him, and now this force there is going to get scans off, so at least going to stay alive for a little bit, but I think that drop on the lower right hand is not really going to be too successful. On the opposite side, he's already going to get some hive tech going, so he's just teching very quickly. We're seeing a lot of Zergs doing this here, while Iris just going to lose his entire force there.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty nice play, I think, by Iris, because specifically he's forcing Hiva to build some units and kind of be in an awkward position while he's getting his army out. But beautiful, Iris not paying attention, not expecting lurkers there, and even though he had detection, going down the ramp, getting halted, held up, and this is beautiful for Hiva. He's going to be able to see basically the composition of the army he's going up against, slow it down, get some units to kind of deal with it. He's already got the lurkers and the lings moving out in position, and again, I think he's got the timing of the hive, the timing of the defiler den. I think it's going to be enough to deal against this, and he actually might be able to take care of this with just pure lurker ling, actually, without any sort of support. It looks like he was going to move in for a quick counterattack. And again, this, even though he's not able to run up and catch Iris out of position, this is hugely beneficial because Iris is sticking. He's planning on winning the game with just this 2-base play, and he's got to win the game with this army that he's moving out here. He's got to take out an expansion. You can see the defiler mount already out, and the longer he delays, the longer he's having to sit back and deal with Hiva's counterattacks and not move out in the field and be aggressive. That's longer that Hiva is going to have to get the defilers out, and as soon as the defilers out, this attack is going to be a lot more difficult to execute, really, for Iris. And you can see the Zerglings already getting kind of in position to kind of harass this back, and Iris is just slowing down. Looks like level 1 Carapace already up, and yeah, I think Hiva, I gotta say, I think he's going to be able to crush this. He might even be able to get some science vessels out of it too. Should have a defiler there momentarily, and some Sunken Colonies just to provide him a little bit of extra time. Might be waiting for the upgrade on the Swarm, but yeah, I think he's in a good position to deal with this. Oh, losing a couple Scourge right there. Might have been able to get some Science Vessels if he was drowning on the spot, but looks like it does hit one, but not able to get much else accomplished. Siege Tank's pushing in, though, and it looks like the Siege Tank support from the low ground, it's going to be really close, actually, and this is what I was talking about earlier, is there are some difficult situations where there's just not a lot of flanking opportunity for Zerg, but Hiva looks like he's found it. He's going to bring his defilers and Zerglings in from behind, and I think this army is just going to get crushed right here on this corridor.
We're going to see what happens as he's moving in. Dark Swarm coming at the perfect time. Dropship actually getting spotted below him as moves in alongside. There are going to be Zerglings coming in from the back with the following lurker support. Nothing but tanks, few medic marines there to support. Dark Swarm coming up. These tanks are going to get up. Could be surrounded. The Dropship gets killed by Scourge before he actually managed to do anything whatsoever. Oh man, Iris is going to lose his entire force on the ground. The Dark Swarm, all of his tanks getting cleaned up. His medic marines on the ground are also going to get cleaned up by lurkers as soon as they manage to burrow down. This attack completely fails. He did manage to clean up the defenses on that ramp, those Sunken Colonies, but overall he just completely lose this. That was horrible for him, getting completely caught in that pocket and killed. He's going to at least delay the counterattack a little bit, getting those mines out in the field. Going to try to delay as long as possible. Does have a medic marine force, small medic marine force on the ground again, but he's going to be forced to play what's actually going to stick up with the aggression, but I really feel not really going to manage to do anything here. Going to actually push out yet again, but our defilers alongside Zerglings, some workers somewhere around there, going to be able to support getting a plague on some of those forces as well. And Iris at this point don't really know what he wants to do here. He's still producing forces just on all cylinders, but soon enough, he already has an economic advantage, actually picking up the 12 o'clock base, and the longer Iris keeps this up the way it is, he's just going to fall behind worse and worse economically. He did manage to take out the lower right-hand base, and thinking of picking up the near only, that's going to get neutralized completely by lurkers. Some mines there that actually lurkers are going to run right into, but overall, Iris here significantly in the back foot.
Yeah, and this is the problem. Is Iris dedicated to a 2-base attack, and he really invested everything in that. That he had to be successful with that attack, and if he wasn't, he's just going to find himself behind. You can see almost the desperation of Iris's play right now. As long as Hiva stays Johnny on the spot with the lurkers, with the lings, and attacks this army as it's out. And I think Iris's quick counter to this was, I'll just add in some fire bats. He is going to be able to stop that 12 o'clock. But that's the thing is Hiva can afford to lose that 12 o'clock base. He's still running off. I still think he's running actually off 3 gas. It doesn't need to worry about it too much. 2 drones right there in the fight. Sub drones later. But yeah, as long as he keeps the lurkers in decent production, he'll be able to counter the fire bats. The fire bats aren't going to be able to stop the swarm. Doesn't look like there was a defiler to. That was a little bit of an ill-fated attack, but nevertheless, Iris still not getting anything accomplished. Still pounding away at that 12 o'clock, but I don't think he's going to be able to establish a third base for a very long time. Actually, I think he might be able to take that out. He's not going to be able to establish a third base for a long time, and I think Kiva can actually just work with whatever tech he really wants to at this stage, as far as his late game tech, and really press this. Although losing that 12 o'clock is definitely going to slow him down if he doesn't hurry up. I'm kind of curious what he's going to morph that's supposed to take care of this here. And okay, a couple Hydralisks, but honestly the Hydralisk should just be able to get worked down. Yeah, you can see them just getting focus fired straight down. So it looks like those Vultures are going to be able to take that 12 o'clock base out. And so Iris actually getting a little bit of a bonus here. He's at least stopping that fourth gas from going up. I still don't think that's going to get that helps. I don't think that's going to get him back in this game. I still think he's behind, but that's a pretty big win for him.
What you would manage to do. It's actually not every day that you get to see 4 Vultures run up to a 12 o'clock and pick up a hatchery from full health to 0, despite resistance or not. But Iris, at the very least, he's managed to get a significant number of science vessels out. He's not lost a single science vessel, and I think that might be his only little advantage here. Meanwhile, getting a lot of those plague, just as they were showing that off screen. But if he manages to keep him alive, manages to keep him in the game, I think that might be his only saving grace. That might be what gets him back into this game. Needs to take that third, needs to clear up that position with the Lurkers and Zerglings waiting there. He's actually going to move for his mineral only. Lurker's going to catch him in position. Oh, man. Zergling's going to be able to run down, just massacre those Marines. We're trying to do something. Iris losing forces on all second, going to lose all those medics too. Man, just not pretty to look at, I got to say. Vultures moving out, try to do something. Some of his forces trying to pick off, trying to get this mineral only up, but just losing Marines, not getting any scans off, losing forces on all fronts, defensive front, his front, somebody else's front, freaking hell. Going to be able to at least save those dropships from those Scourge and pick off an Overlord, but just the only positive thing I'm seeing here, even getting his SCVs into the mix and getting a bunch of them picked off, borrowing quotes from you at this point, Diggity. Wow, just Iris just somehow allowing himself to just lose this match, really.
Yeah, it looks like those Zerglings, losing a lot of those Zerglings on those mines, but this expansion's a little bit late, I think, and I think Iris actually might get starved out. Kiva, though, at this stage, the ball is in his court. He's had the gas all this time. He's had the expansions all this time. It's up to him to do something, and it looks like he does have some Ultralisks. Does manage to hit one dropship right there. The Zerglings continuing to pound their heads against that expansion. The Vultures are really helping out against these Ultralisks, or at least these soldiers that will be coming down the line in not too long. 6 o'clock expansion being taken out, a couple Lurkers to protect it as well. And Hiva playing a little bit defensively. I think he actually needs to go out, just plant, a couple Scourge right there on that corner, not worry about it as much, rely on some reinforcements to take care of that attack force and get aggressive. Make sure that Iris can't get that third base running and just punish him. I mean, this is the stage of the game where you're ahead, you're in a good position. Move out with the Ultralisks, the Defilers, the Zerglings, and get it accomplished. Mission accomplished, victory. Get on the carrier right here. So right now it looks like he's just got a couple troops, and we're expected to attack somewhere at this stage. I don't know, even a drop, something from Hiva. He's still playing defensively, and I don't think he can continue to do so because he's just going to let Iris get his economy back up and roll right back in this game otherwise.
What I'm really liking here from Iris is that he's still managing to keep his entire science vessel count up. He's going to lose all of his dropships there, but he still has a huge count of those science vessels, and they're just going to be able to irradiate the hell out of everything. Every single Ultra that's on the field is going to get irradiated. Every single Defiler on the field is going to get irradiated. Every single freaking thing on the field is going to get irradiated. If it's big, if it's bigger than a Zergling, it's going to get itself irradiated, and that's just going to really help him out. Iris has, meanwhile, managed to reestablish a pretty large medic marine force alongside some firebats to support. Really doesn't want to run headfirst into those dark swarms, though. He's going to be able to engage at least some of those Orcas and Zerglings under the dark swarm, threatening that 6 o'clock position. Actually going to run in that, and there's going to be no defense there. He was going to be able to get one single heavily damaged Ultralisks right inside the mineral only, while Iris actually thinking of picking up Science Vessel to float, Command Center, to float up to the upper left-hand position, pick up his third gas. Meanwhile, going to lose all those SCVs in the mineral only, but hey, if SCVs fight valiantly, something militantly, I don't know. But the very least going to be able to do some damage there. And Iris at this point can't really afford to be done in economic damage. Still getting, he's definitely at 12 Science Vessel at this point. Hasn't lost a single one as far as I can tell. And stuff like that will get you back in a game as a Terran, because just so critical and get those defensive matrix up to do busts like this at the low right-hand position, just getting defensive matrix right on that fire bat. He's going to be able to get inside. There's a medic marine. Science cells are coming in to help support just in case. Going to see even more defensive matrix are coming up, going to be able to absorb those sunken shots. Mutalisk pop in, they're going to be killed instantly. Some Ultras coming into the mix on all sides as well, but they're not going to be able to help at all, I think, either. All of those science vessels, finally some science vessels going down. Mutalisk just being produced to pick them off, but I think Iris is going to be able to take this lower and just defensive matrix on every single Marine down there. We're going to see whether he manages to barely pick up the hatches. Zerglings coming in to try to kill him, but I think there's going to be enough forces. Science vessels just flying all over the place, irradiating everything that looks even partially threatening. Eraser tricking now all those drones, and Iris somehow getting himself back into this game. Holy crap.
Yeah, Iris all of a sudden ahead. Losing that 12 o'clock really set Hiva off tilt, I guess. I don't know. Specifically, what I'm wondering is where are the upgrades? He was still running at level 0, 0 Ultralisks, and without Swarm, you're not going to get anything accomplished. He did manage to do some damage to that third base, but Iris, way ahead in upgrades, just has a much larger army. I mean, it's 20 minutes in, and you don't have even Carapace 1. What's going on there? Finally taking out a couple science vessels here and there, but it just really doesn't make a difference. Iris has that third base. He has a much larger army. He took out all of Hiva's holdings. It looks like, he's just going, it looks like weapons upgrades rather than anything else. It looks like Iris finally able to saturate that third base. He's going to have the one thing, though, is Iris might run a starvation game here, and the science vessels will be the difference, is how well he can keep them alive. Hiva's at 3 base. I don't think he's in a position to take another base. I think he's got to run up and be aggressive, and I think he needs Defilers to do so. But you can see this. It still looks like, at least on my screen, he's running at well, never mind. Okay, he does have level 3 Carapace, but he doesn't have the Ultralisk Carapace upgrade, is what I'm wondering about right here, which could have been the difference in a lot of these fights, and he didn't have it out. I just feel like he's giving Iris some opportunities in this match, and Iris is able to just irradiate everything. He's got that 3 o'clock saturated. He's got the Medic Marines, which are out in the field, and Hiva still not taking any bases. He's not in a position to do so, and he didn't accomplish anything with that attack. Just kept Iris back, lost levels, Ultralist, wasn't able to take out any science vessels. Looks like that Mutalisk is going to be a big threat, actually, if it can go and take a couple of these, thin these science vessels out. Looks like he is going to be able to do so. Takes out 2 before, and dodges. Nice dodge right there. Beautiful plague dodge. The rest of the science vessels look like they're still at a pretty decent sized health, getting plagued there, but that Mutalisk now getting taken out. But still, 12 o'clock expansion out. Hiva's going to end up getting starved out, I think, and I think Iris is at a position where he's got a large enough Medic Marine force where you can take that 6 o'clock with a bunker, maybe even 2 bunkers there, and he can just roam around, take everything out that Hiva's trying to put up. Hiva's not going to have the gas, he's not going to have the minerals, he's not going to have the upgrades to really fight against this, and specifically, he hasn't had an answer for the science vessels. Iris playing this beautifully, an excellent comeback, I have to say.
Yeah, I actually believe this entire time Hiva has had 5, because I'm pretty sure on my Hiva, on my screen, I've seen those Ultras with fully armor upgrades, but he just hasn't been able to utilize them very well. Just never a large enough force alongside with support from Zerglings and Defilers, and just has allowed Iris to come back into this game. There's nothing else to say. He's now going for some offensive, trying to go with Zerglings alongside, trying to pick off the mineral only, picking off those science vessels, those plague science vessels, but at this point, Iris has already gotten back in this game. If it starts losing science vessels now, it's a little too late. He's already threatening on all sides. Low right-hand position, lost yet again. Now he's going for mineral only, just getting those irradiates off on all sides, getting those Marines in with defensive mates. He's just managed to kill all over the place. Dark Swarm's not really helping at this point. And Iris just staging an absolutely beautiful comeback. Thought he was so far behind, but just Hiva, after losing some territory, just somehow managed to just completely crash from that point. Not really managing to get back into the flow of things.
Really, it was actually, it's still out of this game yet, because Hiva still does have some minerals, and it looks like Iris is still just sticking to 3 bases, and he's losing this entire army right here. He's not able to take out that mineral only. He's going to have to come back and get it a little bit. Still eraser tricking, and he's going to be able to take out a lot more units, and he's also able to empty that, and that's going to be critical, because that's, again, going to be larva that's spent to try to regenerate some attack troops rather than anything else. Looks like a Firebat Marine army, no medics there to support, so it looks like those Ultralisks and those Zerglings going to have a field day. You can see all those Firebats in retreat. Finally, single Zergling just like, hey, I'm going to run up and attack you. Iris still making no motions to take any additional expansions, which is very dangerous, because again, he could end up getting starved out in not too long if Hiva can somehow, I don't think he has the bank to do it, but if he can magically find some money to get an army, out there, or continue to go up and continue to go and somehow take that 3 o'clock, but it looks like he's going to lose what little troops he had. Iris still has a very large standing army, and the Zerglings just getting killed as they're coming across. Looks like Iris is going to take this match. Wow. Yeah, I think he's going to take this match easily now. There's nothing to stop him at the 3 o'clock. It looks there's enough fire bats and probably not enough gas for Hiva at this stage to produce any additional ultras, any of those top tier units he needs to stop the big Terran ball. I don't think he even cares about that Dark Swarm anymore with all those fire bats. And there, yeah, he knows it. Hiva knows it. There's GG. Wow, great play from Iris.
Be beautifully getting himself back into this game. Just shows you never count the Berserker out. Now he's going to have a chance to get some revenge against Saint. Gonna see whether Saint brings in any funky builds up next time, but Iris still having a chance to try to reclaim his former glory.